colonial project, from its very beginning, was predicated on the blood of children. Always the blood of the innocent, but mainly the blood of innocent children. That's where we're at. They will want you to comply with this. Do you think it's a coincidence that ICE is picking up Peruvian tourists and leaving their 12-year-old daughters on the streets of New York by herself? Do you think that there is not a heavily pedophilic influenced slant to this entire ICE situation? Because there is. Of course there is. Those kids getting shot in the head over there are your kids. You just don't realize it. Those kids going missing over there and ending up in Israeli basements are your kids. You just don't think it. But every single thing that is happening there is coming here. ICE is just an audition. From what I hear, that motherfucker says some foul shit about everybody. And he looked like a thumb. So I don't give a fuck about that man. But boy, oh boy, is he right about them guns, though. And I am so sorry. I am so sorry to say it. But god damn it, these people are going to show up at your fucking doors. They're going to drag you out of your fucking beds, bro. If you don't do what they tell you, if you don't think what they tell you, if you don't say what they tell you, if you don't hand over that fucking money so they can go bomb more children and kill more kids, they are going to drag you out of your fucking beds, bro. They're already doing it. They're breaking windows. They're pulling people out of cars. You think that fucking Mexican guy at Home Depot is not you? I gotta tell you, I'm having some trouble in my fucking personal life because of this shit. Because how many of you fucking morons don't realize that that Mexican uncle at the store is your uncle? How many of you have not realized over the past 2 years that that kid with the bullet in his head, God forbid, that's your kid, bro? If you allow them to do it, they will do it to you.
So if I sound a little bit funny, it's because I am sick. Now, I had been listening to this woman since I was in high school because one of my friends has shown me her videos because she does astrology as well as tarot cards. And at the time when I was in high school, I did like that stuff. Now, I am Muslim now, so I don't subscribe to either or. And I follow God. Now, funny enough, this woman is Muslim, but is still doing astrology. Now, we can talk about that at a different time because her disgusting anti-Christian sentiments in this podcast was horrific to me. And I was horrified, honestly, at all the other Muslim people, especially Muslim leaders, who were mocking a Christian man being assassinated in public. Not only that, but they wanted to talk about Gaza instead. All these Palestinian supporters continue to talk about Gaza, 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 but have not yet once talked about how Latin America was used in order to create a United Nations vote so Israel can be created. Now, Israel has a long history of going into Latin America as well. I find it very hilarious how Muslim leaders, how Palestinian supporters do not talk about this. It's very few of them that will talk about that, so I do acknowledge that. But again, majority are not. I have yet to see a Palestinian supporter or a Muslim leader also speak against the Palestinian dictator in El Salvador. Funny enough how you guys will praise the Palestinians in Gaza, right? But yet, do not speak against this Palestinian dictator who is snatching Latin Americans off the street, not giving them due process. Not only that, but banning indigenous haircuts. El Salvador is yet to see an indigenous president. However, we have had 2 Palestinians become president in El Salvador. Recent Palestinian Nayib Bukele, he lifted the ban on re-election, so now he is able to run for multiple terms and stay in office indefinitely. More can be said about how Arabs have become part of the elite. Not only that, but are changing the political scenery in Latin America. But that's for another video. I want to talk about her takes on ICE because I find it very disgusting how a lot of you guys are becoming ambassadors to the cartel. This woman literally banned me because I had said in her lives where she was mocking, laughing it up. I found out about Charlie Kirk and the graphic scenery because she posted about it and then went live and started laughing, just laughing. Ha 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 ha. Then her Latin American friend Carolina, she says, oh my God, like she was really distraught. Oh my God, you are not sad. You are not sad, Carolina. Oh my God. But yeah, I want to talk about Latin Americans. I could care less about her banning me because after this assassination, it truly opened up my eyes to see how a lot of you guys want to feed into demons instead of follow the path of God. And honestly, I am grateful for her for talking about psycho-cybernetics, for her talking about Nassim, and just her meditation videos because I had enjoyed those. But you know, God will put certain people in your life, and then when the time is done, the time is done. So, like I said, I'm grateful for that. But I do want to talk about ICE and her takes on ICE because she wants you to believe that ICE is your enemy. And like I said, a lot of you guys are becoming the ambassadors of the cartel. These people don't care about Latin Americans, especially Latin American children. They care about their clicks and views and their political agenda. They want you to believe that ICE is the enemy and they're coming after everybody. Because again, that is their political agenda. They want to instill fear instead of actually talking about the truth and the facts. If you want to talk about the trafficking of children, look no further than the Biden administration that allowed for open borders, which helped the cartel traffic tons of children, as if they're not already doing that. According to Representative Clay Higgins, 35,000 children have been rescued already. Will people like her talk about how Latinos, illegal immigrants, are literally renting out children in order to cross the border? Infants, 6-month-olds. Will they talk about that? No, because it doesn't serve their political agenda. Is she advocating for you to use your Second Amendment in order to go against the cartel and actually help children? No. She's literally advocating for you to use your Second Amendment in order for you to go against your own citizens of this nation who are risking their lives in order to undo what the Biden administration allowed. Not only that, but also risking their lives in order to go against the cartel, something she's now willing to do. You don't believe in the American people. You praise the division of the American people. Meanwhile, you are doing things in America that you could never do in your own Pakistan, Indian country. And how convenient you're willing to use Latin Americans for your talking points. The HHS hotline established to address concerns about UAC placements received nearly 65,000 calls from August 2023 to January 2025 that were largely unanswered, allowing trafficking to continue unchecked. For example, one call was received of a child reporting a lot of grown men were coming into his bedroom and touching him. This call was ignored by the previous administration and only acted upon after this current administration took over, leading to a welfare check, the child being rescued, and the sponsor being arrested. Through our research, we discovered approximately 117 UAC children that are believed to be trafficked on a farm in the Midwest. Through our intervention, there is now a current criminal investigation onto that matter. There are many stories. This article is from 2022, but it's talking about the renting of children. Again, you rent cars, not children. In May, at the height of the apprehensions, Border Patrol agents caught an average of 285 fraudulent families each week. According to Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, 30,000 children worked with organized crime in Mexico in 2015. By 2018, 460,000 children. As the human trafficking industry expands, the U.S. Department of State estimates between 14,500 and 17,500 victims are trafficked within the United States each year, and an estimated 72% of those victims are immigrants. Painting an even grimmer picture, more than 370,000 unaccompanied children have come to our southern border unlawfully under President Biden, and studies show that 60% of unaccompanied migrant children are caught by cartels and exploited through child pornography and drug trafficking. Just last week, ICE and CBP arrested approximately 200 total illegal aliens at 2 cannabis farms in California, where 10 unaccompanied children were found, part of an ongoing investigation into child labor violation and suspected trafficking. Similar cases are happening nationwide. By going after ICE and promoting people to go against ICE, you're supporting the enterprise of the cartel, you're supporting the trafficking of people, as well as modern-day slavery, and you guys are no different from when the slave masters were upset that they could no longer use their slaves. What revolution are you leading if you're promoting for violence on ICE, mocking a Christian man being assassinated in public when you never listen to him, and mocking Christianity too? The revolution of Satan?
As a Hispanic mother, I have held a 6-year-old Colombian child in my arms, cold, dirty, and shaking, left to die at the border by the cartel. I have seen children that have crossed the border alone, holding scraps of paper with sponsor information given to them by the cartels. When I testified in November, we discussed the exploitation of children at our border. Today, countless children continue to be neglected, abused, or trafficked by a system meant to protect them. We must ask, how was this allowed to happen, and what role did NGOs play?
I especially thank you for giving me a platform to plead with members of this body, all on the Democrat side, to stand down on their threats against the men and women of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The violence is getting out of control, and it is fueled by the demagoguery of politicians. Whether it is one of your members telling Axios that there needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public, another saying civility isn't working and to prepare for violence, or even a member of this committee being arrested for forcibly impeding and interfering with federal officials, this escalation deserves condemnation. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. Assaults against ICE officers are up over 830%, and that's a lowball estimate. There have been violent incidents in Alvarado, McAllen.
Would the gentleman suspend briefly? Yes, Mr.
So I got a point of order. Pursuant to Clause 2K8 of Rule 11, I raise a point of order that this testimony is outside the scope of the hearing.